Oh, farmer's daughter. You do. Oh, hey. We can start talking now as I adjust my microphone over a little bit. Yeah, CrunchCast number 11. We're here with Jon Jones on a lovely Wednesday night here in Denver, Colorado, and you're in Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah, and we're mostly on fire.
I was gonna ask because there are a lot of game developers in Texas.
Couple.
How's the fires?
So far they haven't really hit my neck of the woods yet, but they're getting sort of closer. They're barely containing them. I think the closest one's maybe 15 miles away, but for some reason my neighborhood today smelled like smoke. I've actually put together an emergency kit if I need to grab my shit and leave.
Absolutely.
So it's basically cats, fireproof safe, computers, and just have to be ready to, potentially lose everything. Granted, it's very, very unlikely that it'll actually get down this way, but it's still really fucking disconcerting.
Oh, sure.
I'm not happy about that.
There's some really interesting videos online. If for those of you that just don't know anything about it, you can look up. There's this one video about how fast a fire is moving.
Oh shit, yeah.
You seen that one? It's like this fire. They show it at the start of the video. It's on this side of the screen, and you just see it immediately just go and just encompass this whole field. And yeah, it's scary and dangerous. But
yeah, everything's bigger in Texas, including goddamn firestorms.
Yeah. Hey, you know what they say? You pray for
Everything's bigger
rain,
in
God
Texas.
brings fire.
Yeah, take that, Rick Perry.
Yeah. On the other hand, here, man, we just hit our first cold front of the season. So I mean, it's not been cold, but it's been overcast and rainy and much lower than the solid summer we had of high 90, 100 degree temperatures. So
I didn't know it got that hot there. I think we're just coming off 3 or 4 months of 100 plus.
I don't want to say it was record warm here, but it was a pretty hot summer for this area, Denver.
Dude,
Anyway,
I'd feed a puppy into a wood chipper if it would drop the temperature 10 degrees.
I'll tell you what.
I'd love if that stacked.
So yeah, here we are. This is our 11th episode.
And my 4th?
I think it's something like that. You can check crunchstudios.com
Never been there.
and verify the information yourself. As always, you can follow us on Twitter. You got at Jon Jones for this guy over here, at Chris Holden Dev here. We got the Facebook. We got the G+. Feel free to use that to interact with the show in any way possible.
Got Orkut, got Skype, got Foursquare, got Gowalla, got Clout.
Wow. Hey, I got all the videos up on Vimeo now.
Oh, kick ass, dude.
The quality of that's really nice. I like that Vimeo quality.
Vimeo's a really good site. They've got a lot of really cool sort of like high-end digital video photography, videos and photography type stuff up there. They're pretty interesting, and I think they handle like privately shared videos a lot better than YouTube does.
That's probably right. I'm not. I've had no problems with either one, but they did have when I first signed up, I signed up for one of those. I forgot what they called it. It's like a better account, so I could upload more. And I have 5 gigs per week, so it took about 3 weeks to get all caught up, getting all these uploaded.
I bet. By the way, one quick side note of a really cool tool that I like using sometimes from giving art direction and whatnot. You've heard of Camtasia, right?
No, go ahead. Tell everybody.
Okay. All right, Camtasia is a screen capture tool a lot of people use for video tutorials and whatnot. That same company, TechSmith.com,
I've heard of that.
puts out a product called Jing, Jing. Basically, it's a little, it's similar to Camtasia, but it's just a lot quicker to initiate and launch from your desktop. You can take screenshots, you can take videos, like with audio. You just choose what part of the screen you want to capture. Super straightforward, but one of the cool things is you can set it to automatically upload to, I think, YouTube, Vimeo, Photo Bucket, or an FTP instantly from there. Like basically capture a video, hit a button, uploads it to Vimeo, and it copies the link to that video to your clipboard. So if you're working with artists in the U.S. specifically, like in the U.S. or English-speaking countries, primarily dealing with artists, that can be really handy. So let's say, like if I want to critique animation or rigging, what I'll do is I'll set up Jing, just choose it to capture the screen area and Max or Maya. And then I'll scrub through the animation showing where, let's say, some shitty deformation is on the shoulder. So I'll scrub through the animation from different angles, and it'll be recording my voice as I talk, saying, okay, pay attention to this part of the shoulder. In frame like 35 through 40, it shears this way, and these are the specific verts that you need to fix. Here's another angle on that. So you record like a quick 30, 45-second video, save that, and get that uploaded, or saved to your hard drive, whatever. Send off to the artist, and that'll save you the time of having to write out the whole thing, or try and tweak and fix it yourself and send it to the artist. It's just a really good, really quick way of just doing screen caps or videos super fast, and I believe it's free. Oh, there's a Jing Pro, but yeah, Jing. It's really, really great. I strongly recommend it, and it'd be really good for just doing really, really quick video tutorials, speed paint, stuff like that. It's badass. I strongly recommend it.
That's the way you described it immediately. The first thing I thought was, oh, this would be good for working with outsourcing artists.
Totally. Except
probably...
one thing, when I was working in Vigil, when I went to China, I was talking to the art director of their art production director of THQ's XDG, External Development Group, which is basically like a central outsourcing management agency for all THQ studios. They're based primarily in Shanghai, and they have relationships with all the local Chinese studios there. Some in Shanghai, some in Nanjing, some's kind of out and around. But I was telling him about that. And he said, actually, when you're dealing with people that don't speak English, like China, India, whatever, some of them have full-time translation teams. One studio in particular had a team of 20 people that just translate full-time, like all feedback, all everything. But they may not necessarily have the best grasp of English. And if you speak too quickly, like I tend to, or if you slur your words, shit like that.
Sloppy Southern accent like me.
Exactly. Sloppy motherfucker. But
hey,
yeah,
y'all.
But
me to fix this art.
But see, they have to write out the transcripts from videos that you send them like that to give feedback, and that's a huge pain. It wastes a ton of time, and it really sets back development. So I'd only recommend, based on his recommendation, which I thought was awesome because he's done it. He's been there. He's done that. He's super badass.
Oh, it's excellent that you have both sides of that picture, that you can really get a better grasp of, is this really valuable or not?
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, so generally like still pictures, show versus tell, or just clearly written feedback written at about like a fourth grade English level. Not saying that as an insult.
Not as a dumbed down. You shouldn't be going crazy.
Yeah, just don't use college words. Don't use like really subjective descriptors like make it cooler, make him meaner. Just stuff like that can mean completely different things in different cultures. There's a whole style to communicating across cultures, which is one of the central fascinations I have with outsourcing, to tell you the truth. Finding out how to communicate something clearly to someone that may have a completely different cultural background from you.
I have my brief experience with that.
Oh, yeah. Mythic, you're managing artists in China, right?
Yeah, in India. Whew. We trained a team in India, then went and worked with ones in China. However, I was very lucky that we had already worked with the studio in Shanghai before I did this, like on the main product, not the expansion, and so they pretty much had their system set up. Like they knew us, we had a good relationship. They knew the art style, so they were so good. I could pretty much just give them the stuff and say, okay, there it is. Thanks. Keep going. It's perfect.
That's absolute best case.
It's very, very lucky.
There are some like crazy talented studios in both India and China, and we talked about in a previous CrunchCast.
We love them.
Yeah, they're incredible. They work incredibly hard. They're just as passionate about games as we are. They even build their own schools where they graduate artists into employment with them. And over there in some parts of India and China, that's a really amazing job. Like some of the studios I went to, the artists literally lived and grew up and worked on farms. That was seen as a really good job for them. So they aspired to go work for an art studio, go through that schooling and training, and work in games. It was something that dramatically increased their quality of life. And people like that are the ones I saw are just crazy motivated. They are hungry to do just the best damn job they can. and I was super impressed by them. Granted, quality varies wildly from studio to studio, but I got to see how well run it is, and it's better than most studios in the West that I've seen, to tell you the truth.
Hey, sometimes it just happens, man. Yeah, that's God. I want to talk about organization, but there's one thing I kind of want to just toss in here beforehand, and it's something we don't really talk about too much, but I just kind of wanted to see how it works out talking about it. Like it kind of like segments to the show almost. Like we started for a little intro thing, and we're kind of working into different topics. But I wanted to talk about video game news. Can you believe that?
Video game nudes?
Nudes. Who's nude in video games? Send me the pictures. No, what I'm talking about here is news. Like what's been going on in video games as far as a developer's perspective. I'll just go ahead and lead you into what I mean by this. Deus Ex.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this just came out. Everybody is playing it. Like almost, I don't want to say everyone, but most game developers I know are like, yeah, I want to play this, or they are playing it.
Dude, I'm 30 hours in at this point. I'm loving it.
Yeah. And you can look at, you can see how much this is getting around just by looking at the art communities, because there's so many threads popping up now, people going Deus Ex scene. Like that is like there's so many coming out right now. Like, people are playing it and they're getting inspired, and that's good. Yeah, that's great.
That's really cool to see. I mean, the game is so stylish, atmospheric. The art direction is fantastic. It's really just moody and interesting, and a lot of it, and part of the game is based in Shanghai. By people, like the main impression, well, at least leading up to it coming out, a lot of people were saying, hey, this looks like Blade Runner, which it does. But it's just got this really amazing atmospheric look to it that actually reminded me of going to Shanghai, like walking through the streets just in, even in Detroit, just seeing like the crazy high-tech, just everything. It's just visually super inspiring. The character work is amazing.
What year is it supposed to be, 2030 or something like that? Or
2029, 2030, I think.
That's what always made me laugh was, wait a minute, Detroit is not going to be this nice.
By then, I give Detroit like another 5-10 years for it's just like a smoking crater. Self-inflicted.
No, but that's everybody's playing that game right now. Another thing it's kind of near and dear to me and a whole bunch of my buddies is this Minecraft 1.8 patch. It's supposed to drop soon.
Oh yeah, you're one of them.
Oh yeah, I'm one of them.
So what's dropping, yo?
I don't know. It's just gonna be a whole bunch of new stuff. They're adding like these adventure mode, I guess, or not adventure mode, but there's an adventure in the game. It starts off the world generates like random NPC villages. They've added river systems,
nice
ravines. One of the things I'm really interested in. There's these abandoned mines and abandoned dungeons, abandoned fortresses that are underground. And there's new mobs, new monsters. That is. I've always been into with Minecraft. Like building stuff is a lot of fun, and I get into that. And I mean, yeah, but one of the things that I really like is just adventuring in it. When you're like digging around and finding a crazy cave, or who knows what's around the corner unless you press F3. But man, I'm really excited for that game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of digging into that some more. Minecraft didn't really grab me the way it did everybody else ever, but I respect what they've done. But I really want to kind of drop in and just see how it develops. I think it's really interesting he released it that early, that rough, and keeps adding more and more stuff to it.
Yeah, that's really the interesting thing about it is how it starts off. It started off as a very, very simple game, and man.
Yeah, and that dude Notch. What's his name? Like a Marcus Persson, I think, something like that. Dude's
Everybody
amazing.
knows Notch,
and he's super plugged into the community. Like I'm a huge fan of Reddit.com, and he posts there a lot. Really interacts with his fans. He's actually an incredibly funny, really socially engaged guy, which I think kind of definitely helps drive that game's popularity. And have you heard about this whole thing between him and Bethesda?
Yeah, he has that game
Scrolls.
called Scrolls. Yeah.
I've only heard this like second or third hand, but so I think the deal is because they're of Bethesda's The Elder Scrolls series. They're trying to sue him and say he can't use the word scrolls because apparently that didn't exist before Bethesda created that series, Dead Sea Scrolls. But
I was about to say the Dead Sea Scrolls better watch their ass.
right? Yeah. Watch out, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You're next. But yeah, so apparently Bethesda are being total dicks about it. But I guess Notch challenged them to a Quake 3 arena deathmatch 3-on-3. Anyone they choose versus him and 2 people he chooses, and whoever wins gets to keep the name.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything more about that though. I really hope that works out. I think that's freaking hilarious and great fan service.
That would be the adult way to handle things.
Totally. And what's awesome is the guy that runs ZeniMax, I want to say Vlatko? I can't remember his last name. He's the guy that runs ZeniMax, Bethesda, just basically, you know, game dev or game biz tycoon. Just super cool guy. I really want... I think either he was called out and asked to participate in that, or I just really hope he will, because he's a really, really interesting guy. Dude's actually married to Wonder Woman, Linda Carter. The guy that runs ZeniMax and Bethesda, that owns it, is married to Wonder Woman. How freaking cool is that?
That's pretty awesome. Hey, did you see that new video game? It's like a third-person RPG. Yeah, a third-person RPG. I think they all are. No,
oh, that one!
The Studio Ghibli one? How do I say that?
I've seen a short video of it. I mean, visually it looks pretty amazing.
This is like the best looking... Some of these environments are some of the... Artistically, these environments are some of the best executed in that style ever. I can link you the video right now if you want.
Do.
I was trying to find it in English, as in the English title, so that I could properly say the name of it. I saw it earlier today, and now I can't find the link to the English one. So, God, there's this scene where they're walking across a terrain that just looks like a painting, and then a dragon comes down and picks up the character, and they fly away, and you can clearly see that it's terrain, like real 3D, you know, real-time 3D terrain and all that, but everything just looks like a beautiful painting.
Jesus, I'm watching it right now, actually on this screen, and Jesus God!
Oh yeah, it's a pretty game.
It's animation.
Yeah. When people always abuse that cell shading thing, or what they think is that toon shading, where they just draw a black line around everything, and it's stupid. Mm-hmm. They're an idiot. This is how you're supposed. This is exactly how you're supposed to do it. The backgrounds are painted. The characters have the outline based on the color. Like it's a dark shading color of that shape it outlines. That's how you do it. Any other way you do it is you telling the world you do not understand animation and line work.
It feels like the first games.
Fat cat.
That thing is awesome. But it seems like the first games that come out with any new like kind of visual technology just overdo the hell out of it and make it look really obvious and really shitty.
It takes years to refine that stuff. Remember the first 3D models? Come on, get out of here.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
And honestly, I mean, Doom 3. I understand. You know, they're one of the first games to come out with normal mapping, and they're the first ones to
It doesn't really hold up.
Oh God, no! It looks. It's kind of ruined me for anything like built just with normal maps. I think most games look like complete ass with that.
I can't wait for normal maps to be gone. Get the F out. Ugh.
I agree. God, the game's beautiful.
Right.
But yeah, no, I totally agree. Even Deus Ex, as beautiful as it is, I mean, some of it is just.
There were plenty of times where I was like,
just like, hey, I'm normal mapped.
I'm a video game room. Remember all the other video games you saw this room? Well, I'm back. But don't worry, the game around me is fun.
It's just, I don't know, it's just all so obviously normal map. I mean, like the highlights are like super freaking like bright white, like on the edges and everything. Everything else is just super dark. It just feels like instead of having like a normal, soft, easy shadow, just everything is just pushed dramatically and sharply to black, like too perfect black, almost everywhere. It's hard to see it done right or done well. The only two games. Actually, your game Nexus is pretty good. We'll get to that in a second, actually, to pimp that out. Your game does it really well. Gears of War, I feel, does the best job of making it seem less normal mapped. Deus Ex does it right most of the time, but Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2 both do it better than most games I've seen.
Well, I'll credit a lot of our success to just the way the CryEngine renders. I really like the way CryEngine seems to render. I don't know. It just seems to make normal maps look a little better. I don't know. You can mess it up with a bad material, no doubt, but
yeah. But your game, Nexus.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, but I got one more piece of game news. And, look, there's more games out in the world, but
really,
what else? One of the biggest things that I think is happening right now is all the Diablo 3 beta videos. Have you seen any of them?
No, I'm trying not to spoil myself.
I know you're not going to be spoiled by seeing these videos.
I've got a...
and by that I mean you're going to be totally spoiled. No, it's just some early beta. It's like they're walking around the first stage.
Okay, I've got a sort of a back channel beta request in. So hopefully I should be one of the first developers that's allowed to get in, because right now as it is, other developers are not allowed in.
Oh, right on.
Which kind of sucks. So I'm waiting for that so I can see it firsthand.
I can understand it, but yeah.
But dude, I'm so looking forward to that. Some guys I worked with at Vigil and at Ready at Dawn are working there at Blizzard on that. Actually, the art director on Diablo 3. Remember that whole thing where everybody's just like, "Oh my God, it looks like WoW. That's unacceptable." Yeah.
When everybody collectively put their foot in their own mouth and became stupid to the world.
Yes, that.
Because they were just the best. They just put their words a bit too soon.
I'd say so. I mean, with the game with that much anticipation behind it, I mean, people are going to be opinionated.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they do. People are going to go bleh.
But the art director quit. Supposedly not over that. But the art director they got is actually one of the dudes I worked with at Ready at Dawn, Chris Leichner. He's a super famous comic book artist. He was the de facto art director and texture artist on Daxter when I was at Ready at Dawn. Actually, Daxter, that poster right there. Dude is honestly one of the coolest people I've ever worked with. One of the most talented artists, probably top 3 that I've ever worked with or seen in my fucking life. And he's the art director on that now. And once I heard him, well, I was going to buy it day one anyway. Once I heard that he was going to get on board, I knew something really, really fucking serious and fucking special is going to happen with that game. I've never met a harder worker.
Well, I'll tell you what. I watched just a few of the videos just to get a look at what's going on. It's very, very effing Diablo. It is. The environments were like, ooh, this is spooky. It was like super creepy and scary stuff going on, and the sounds were like it was the next level shit. Remember all those screenshots they released a while back of those dungeons, that first dungeon? It looked really good. Like clearly when you saw those screenshots, you're like, okay, this is the next level dungeons. But
yes,
that was so long ago. You saw those exact dungeons reproduced in like Torchlight and every other dungeon crawler game that came out. But what they've done from there to now, like, it is the next level. It is just gorgeous. Like, God, you can't even, you have to see the videos. You can't describe it. It's just like, man, that looks nice.
I'm going to wait for beta. It's going to suck, but I'm going to wait for beta. I want to see it and experience it, but I know...
These videos don't mean anything to me until I play it, because I love me some Diablo.
So, dude, you've easily clocked, what, like, well over 100+ hours, if not way more, into Diablo 2.
Oh, yeah, easily. Well, I've infamously posted this screenshot. Every time anybody talks about Diablo, I post my screenshot of my character list. And it's all these like level 90 hardcore characters, but there's a scroll bar. But there's a scroll bar on the side where I have to say, well, you can scroll down a long way and see a lot more of these.
Dude, you got to link me to that. I don't think you've shown me. I mean, I know you have them.
I can dig it up, but yeah, it's got to be on the internet somewhere.
If you're ever in the mood to play Diablo 2 again, I'll reinstall.
I might have it installed right now.
That would surprise me if you didn't. But I honestly, whenever I get in the mood to play WoW again, I suppress the urge most of the time and just reinstall Diablo 2.
Diablo 2 is a pretty fun game. But anyway, yeah. So you were talking about this Nexus thing. So apparently, September 6th, last night, fairly late in the evening, the Twitter account at Nexus Shooter, or at NEXUIZSHOOTER, started posting and launched. And it also
Badass.
launched a Facebook page and a YouTube page. There's no videos up. Let me see. There's no videos up now. Yeah, not yet. But yeah, there's that in the Facebook page, and all these things just appeared last night out of the blue. I'm not sure what to tell you, but that's pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing them. Oh, look at you. Look at you. You wrote it. Hold on, let me make sure I get that. Zoom out just a little bit. Let me adjust the camera here. At Nexus Shooter. Okay, I think we got it.
Cool. Pimpage. Seriously, that game looks fucking amazing, and it plays great.
Yeah, you've got a chance to see it because you've been to the shows and you visited the studio.
Yeah, and that initial trailer from PAX 2010, was that pre or post Crisis?
It's got to be Crisis.
Okay, I remember there's a switchover.
The only time it wasn't in Crisis was when we first kind of put together the idea for the game. It was the GDC 2010. Is that right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
I we just had a little booth on the side, a little business booth. We were running the game on some PS3s. Pretty awesome. But yeah, then we switched right into Crisis 3 engine.
And that was a really easy switchover, wasn't it? I remember you guys did that super quick.
Well,
I know you did.
We had a lot of art that was done, as in it was already running in one engine, right? And when you've already got assets that are done, you don't have to wait on art production. And with an engine like Crisis, it's already built to be a first-person shooter. Mm. So a lot of that kind of happens pretty quick. The set that I did, the Ada Virtus set, which is all the jungle ruins and stuff like that.
That shit was cool. That,
for me, when we started that was just me making brand new art and putting it in. And a lot of that art, literally a lot of that stuff just fell out of my Mac's viewport and into the engine, and everything happened to work out.
It's like, oh guys, my stomach's hurting. I gotta go drop something on my Mac's viewport.
It's ridiculous. It just happened to work out really well, and the longer we've worked with it, the more unique features we've discovered, and yeah, it's
that's awesome.
It's been exciting to work with it.
You guys gonna be the first Crytek 3 engine game coming out, is that right?
I'm not exactly sure on dates. I don't know what to tell you right now, because look, I just make art. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff is totally out of my hands. I don't know what to tell you, but as far as I know, besides the game Crisis 2, which is pretty awesome, the first licensee possibly.
Nice. That's freaking cool. You guys are doing a lot of cool shit over there.
I'm really excited about it. What I'll tell you was the coolest thing about it was just getting to, okay, we had those guys fly out and train us, and then we flew over to Germany. I got to go to Europe because we're using this tech. That's amazing to me. And a lot of people are kind of looking forward to Ghetto Golf.
Dude, I think it's gonna be hilarious. I haven't seen anything. Have you guys released anything on that in a while?
Nah, we've got a lot going on, but we can't say anything or talk about it. But the point is, as people know, Ghetto Golf is done.
Say no more.
Yeah, as people know, Ghetto Golf is it's our future game that we plan to do, and it does use Unreal technology. So one of the things I'm looking forward to is the possibility of getting to go out to Epic and really get to hang out with those guys, and
those guys are cool.
Learn some technology from them. Like I said, I don't know that any of that's going to happen, but it's plausible that could happen.
It really
around GDC.
So how many people are at your studio now? Like 15, 16?
Not even. If you count the other company that's also in that building. It's Oh, it's actually less than that now. I think it's just 11. Actually,
Good God.
I think it's down to 10 because I think a guy might have accepted another offer.
Oh.
However,
But well, my overall point being, you guys are a studio of like 10 or 11. You're working
a
on
very
two
small team.
great-looking games.
We were
One
like
is
5.
Unreal Tech. One's Unreal Tech, and one's CryEngine 3. That's fucking crazy. And I've been there. I've seen the shit you guys are doing. I'm amazed that you're pumping out so much with so few people. I think
it's
that's
never
the
been a
perfect
case.
model.
It's never been a case of us doing like bull shots or anything like that either. As you know, because you've been there.
Oh yeah.
Did you get to play Ghetto Golf at all?
Mm-mm.
Well, we probably just didn't have it installed at the time. Ghetto Golf has been a playable single-player and multiplayer game, and Nexus has been a playable multiplayer game, as you know, because you've been in the studios forever. It was never a situation of bullshotting. We were always, if we showed it, it was us playing the game. There was a few situations where we might have like made sure it was a nice angle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, sure.
We didn't have to do that
like,
because that's our philosophy. Is if we can't play it, then what the F?
Yeah, you can't play. You're not going to show it. And it seems like you guys got that shit playable really, really early, which I think is awesome and kind of rare. I know so many fucking games are just completely, literally, fully unplayable to the very end.
Many of the games that I've worked on over my career have always been like that. They've been just totally unplayable until like a beta state. As in, the company makes an alpha that has like a couple features in to convince whoever they need to convince, and then the game is just dead all the way up to like beta, and whew, that's brutal. Because you never know what anything looks like.
Yeah, that's a horrible way to be. I've worked with a lot of studios, or a handful of studios, whose philosophy is the game needs to be playable at least every 2 weeks. That needs to be the absolute top priority. And there's no fucking around, no bullshitting, is absolutely unacceptable if the game is unplayable for really any period of time. But 2 weeks or like 2 week sprints is the absolute maximum it can't be. Otherwise, how are you gonna know if it's fun? How are you gonna know if the art is even going to work in it? How are you gonna know what it's going to be like as a game if you can't play it if it doesn't run?
Well, one of the things I'll tell you about,
one of their chief philosophies, which I think is great.
If you're working with CrunchCast, man, the way that editor works is everything is so real time that if you can't play the game, that means you can't edit the game. As in, the editor is so
good.
real time. If you just hit like Control G and you pop in and you run around and test things,
That's awesome.
It's that level of playable versus running.
It's the right way to do it.
Well, the plus and downside of that is, okay, if ever there's like a new build or some new DLLs come in or whatever, if something goes wrong, then that means you can't do shit. But that does very rarely happen. It very rarely happens because we have to be so on top of it. We have to be so diligent that the game is playable because of that. And it was very much the same way back at Mythic when we're doing Warhammer. That's an MMO. You can't really test the game unless you can log on to the server and play. So whenever there was any kind of build where there was a bug, you would have like a company-wide email before we even got in of somebody who had already tested it out and like, oh, it doesn't work, don't get latest, whatever, and then you're fine. Mm-hmm. Unless you're the guy that just doesn't check your email, comes in and gets latest.
Dude, that reminds me when I was shit, I shouldn't even name the company. One of the companies I worked for did not have Perforce, but they had a team of, at its peak, 39 people, about an average of 30, all working from just the same files, the same everything. If anyone did a single thing wrong that broke the build, everyone knew about it instantly. And one time I was changing out the player character's main weapon, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work because it was so integrated with so much shit. And I was ready, just like, okay, I have a backup of the file right here. I'm gonna check this in. So I'm checking it in. I'm going to export this right now, check really quick if it works, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna immediately copy and paste that over and make it so it works again. But
I know exactly where you're coming from and how that seems so fail-safe, but it is not. Go ahead.
This is one of the funniest things that ever happened to me. So I was working as a character artist, And so I checked in the that file, and it didn't work. And within 5 seconds, as I was about to copy it back over, I had 3 of the gameplay programmers standing behind me silently, didn't hear them come up. One of them just leans down right behind my head, like right here to me, and goes, "What the fuck?" Just people knew that. I mean, that was for halfway across the building. People knew that fast. Just like, "You broke the build. What the fuck, man?" Just like, kind of like mock pissed, but they can't do anything until that shit gets fixed. And it's people know instantly who it is. It was really awkward. But I mean, in a weird way, that enforced a lot of discipline, because people triple check their shit because they don't want to get a beating in the parking lot when they go home.
Dude, I worked at a very, very large company that every bit of your work was you, at the end of the day, copying your files over the network to a raw open folder that everyone in the company did the same thing.
Was that a big, McLarge, huge ink?
It was a big, it'd be a way to describe it.
God,
but it was unbelievable. I would write up these big fucking documents to whoever would listen and just email them out every once in a while. I'm like, "Hey, guys, we're just raw copying files to a network. I lost a bunch of work the other day because one of my leads just saved his version over mine." And then in my own backup, I'm like, "Well, yeah." It's like, what? Why are we're raw there's hundreds of people at this company.
It's retarded. And okay,
They didn't
granted,
have
a company that
Perforce
big,
or Visual Source Safe or anything.
see, Perforce, I think, is like, depending on the company size, I want to say it's like between $500 and $1,000 per person, to use it. But they're honestly, I don't know a whole hell of a lot about this. I'm only just starting to look into it. But there's an open source.
And there were 3 of us working on that game. The first thing we did day 1, the programmer set up Visual Source Safe for 3 people.
Michael?
Yeah, Mike Bickle.
Michael's a smart motherfucker. But there's also an open source free version of that does version control, collaborative development, I believe, called Git, Git. I'm still looking into it, but I mean, there's no fucking excuse not to have something set up. Just think about them. Okay, think about the amount of money like you'll be saving by not having it. Just forget Git completely. Think about the amount of money you'll save versus the amount of time you'll save with people just dicking around with just stupid stuff like that. Just like, your lead saves over your files, you lose your work. How many hours does that cost you? How much extra time do you have to spend like working around this and getting used to working with a really stupid system like that?
I just told him straight up, "You're fixing that because you broke it," and he did it because he's a man.
Good on him. Did his name start with an L by any chance?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm thinking of someone else.
You just confused me for a second there, so I forgot who to say. I think you're messaging him now, but hey.
Yeah, we pass notes in class. No, mostly I send him.
No, it wasn't him.
Mostly I send pictures of shit porn to Chris while we're doing this.
I did work with that guy at that company. It wasn't
cool.
him.
Okay. Yeah, I remember he personally apologized to me once for a bad thing that company did to me.
Hey, things happen, man.
Yeah, it totally happen. I mean, honestly, I'm getting to the point where I just can't take that shit personally anymore.
Yeah, you can. You never know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know if I told the story. Like, I had one of my best friends apply for a company that I was working at, and he did the art test, and I thought it was fine, but things didn't really like pan out. But what was weird for me was like, he was such a good friend of mine, but the leads wouldn't get back to him. And I was like, just say, "Look, we can't hire you right now, but you passed the art test," or whatever. Just say something, because I felt that, look, for one, that's unprofessional just to not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at least for the guy's confidence, let him know we liked your art test, but whatever.
See, I completely agree, but from the studio perspective, they have no incentive to tell you no, ever.
Yeah, they don't have any incentive. But the point is,
if they say no, sorry, go ahead.
if it's a big, huge company and you just got like 20 art tests in, oh, okay, I got you. But this is one guy. It's like the only guy that applied at the time.
You can spend like 5 minutes on it, but from the studio perspective, saying no closes a door. If you never saying yes, progresses things along. But if you don't say a damn thing, technically you haven't said no, and you can contact them 6 months later and say, okay, we're ready.
Yeah, it's silly.
So they have every incentive to want to keep artists on the hook. Oh, and what I recommend and what I've always done is follow up. Well, so I've turned in an art test. I know it's going to take some time to go over. I'll follow up every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. Pretty much forever until I get an answer. Anytime I email a company for any reason, like applying, just inquiring about this or that, art tests, whatever, I never expect to get an answer the first time I ever send an email, and it's so important to do a follow-up. I'd say I probably have an 80% success rate of getting an answer on the second email, but by the third or fourth email, I'd say 90 to 95% of the time I get an answer. I mean, it's not that's the thing. That's something I'm actually dealing with myself a lot right now.
Are you serious, bro?
I am so serious, bro.
I just wanted to say, are you serious, bro? I wanted to get it in this podcast.
All right. Baba Booey. Something I'm trying to just learn myself, to tell you the truth, is not to take shit personally. I mean, it's easy, like, when you're slighted, to assume the other person has it out for you, or they're trying to screw you over in some way, like they're thinking specifically trying to do something bad to you. But honestly, I'd say most of the time, you're not that important to them. They don't think about you. They don't care about you. Yeah. They have enough of their own shit going on. People don't have the time to take shit out on other people. Dude, you're not that important.
I've had word get back to me that somebody this, that, and the other, and the first thing I thought was, who?
See, I mean,
I'm not spending any time doing that.
Yeah, it's so easy to take that kind of thing personally. Honestly, I mean, I hate marking up to this, but a lot of times it's just business. People get busy. You're an art lead. I mean, I'm like art producer, director, manager, whatever the hell you want to call me. And I mean, I may not be able to get back to every email quickly or possibly ever. I mean, you're not the only person I'm dealing with.
Dude, yeah, come on.
I mean, honestly, I'm dealing with anywhere from 10 to 50 artists at a time. Mm-hmm. The shit
that you're actually dealing with, the actual job. Yeah. I think I talked about this before. Remember that I said I got an email from somebody that said, "Hey, you remember me?"
Yes.
And that was the whole email, and I didn't know who it was.
I mean, we can.
It was just honestly so vague that I just couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't go anywhere with it. I'm like, I just closed it and moved on to some work emails I had.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like for people. Okay, your position, my position. We get shit done. That's what we do. That's our job. We get shit done. We do what gets us a paycheck. And honestly, it's nothing personal. If I have like a workload that's going to take me anywhere from 40 to 60 hours a week to do, and your email is going to take me somewhere from 30 minutes to an hour to deal with, I'm sorry, I have other stuff going on. It's not personal. I will try and get to it if at all possible, but there's so much in my head right now. Yeah. I'm not always going to get to. It's not because I hate you or think you're bad.
And at this point, I got all those forums. I'm posting art on all these forums. I've got all these videos going on with this show and all this crap. Yeah, how many people comment and send me messages and like silly stuff like, if somebody has an important message, and I'll take that into account, like that metal episode from the last one. So, we talked about it, and I got requests, people going like, yeah, you should do that, and we did it. I try to incorporate anyone's suggestion I can. A lot of times I'll get just like a straightforward suggestion from somebody like who's a buddy of mine or something, so I won't not have it kind of in an official format, but I still talk about it because I try to work it in because it's interesting. And
you do the best you can,
Yeah, I was gonna say, with that in mind, I gotta the first actual I guess fan email, the contact at Crunch Studios CrunchCast.com.
Hey,
Received.
legitimacy.
I apologize. This email address is I feel like it's kind of hidden on the page, to be honest with you. Look, crunchstudios.com, the site, it's, like I said, it's very work in progress. I just needed something to host the content, and that's what it is right now. As things progress, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, check this out. A young fella by the name of Elliot McSherry sent me an email asking how a suggested topic of discussion for us, I guess. But yeah, we what is this? Oh, look at you! Hold on, let me make sure that's in there good. There we go. Look at you. That's your internet. Look at that. That is an email address coming from Austin, Texas, being captured in Denver, Colorado, being broadcast to the entire world. Can you believe the future we live in, folks?
Oh my God!
It's like the future of the Jetsons over here. But yeah, so he sends me this email. His basic topic of discussion, because we talk about portfolios a lot, and he was wondering, okay, you got a portfolio, right? I'm paraphrasing him because
for brevity.
Yeah, for brevity. Basically the concept of his question was, this guy's got portfolios, right? And they get this portfolio, and it has all this pictures. If you've got a screenshot in your portfolio, and it's just a game screenshot, how do artists define they did this particular aspect of that screenshot? In particular, he was saying, how does an art director or a lead artist depict only the thing they did within that screenshot? And that's a pretty good question, because you've got a lot of people out there. You've got people doing lighting, you got people doing visual effects or like cinematics. Like if you've got a guy who's a cinematic artist, it could just be an awesome looking screenshot of a game.
Yeah.
And obvious. Look, if you're the guy hiring, you should be smart enough to understand what you're looking at in the first place. But if you're just some layperson, you're like, he made all that. You don't know.
Yeah. Dude, actually completely relevant to this, way back, you know Massive Black, right? Mm-hmm. The just super famous high-end art studio. They have the best artists. Exactly, Massive Black Cock. Look at the logo, it makes sense. When they first put their site together and had their portfolio, they were talking about having a bunch of film guys that worked on Lord of the Rings and The Matrix. Their entire portfolio was like 5 to 10 second clips from both movies with absolutely no breakdown. Which, I mean, I saw that, I laughed, I thought they were assholes, and I closed the page and never looked at it again. Just, one person or like one or two people did not make an entire like visual effects shot for The Matrix or Lord of the Rings. That's, I mean, that can be anywhere from like 3 months to 2 years of VFX work for an entire team of people. And that's the same thing for games. If you show a screenshot of a game, it's not going to be obvious what you did. Even if you say you're a level designer, environment artist, whatever, it's not going to be obvious what you did. I mean, my personal preference, based on my experience, what I like seeing in a screenshot is just at the bottom, hell, add extra space if you need to. Just say, level design by Bill Bradley, environment art by Bob Johnson and Space Marines. I have a Space Marine poster. I ran out of names, but just break it down. Here's level design. Here's like these props or this room. Here's who did the textures. Here's who did this character. Just give an honest breakdown of who did what and highlight exactly what you did, and I'm gonna respect you a hell of a lot more. And it makes it easier if you break it out some more beyond that. So let's say you have a screenshot. You break down who did what, and then you have, if at all possible, screenshots or renders of those individual objects in Max or Maya or whatever, just to show, like, here's what it looks like in a game environment, here's what it looks like in the editor. Because that tells me a lot about you as an artist. It says, okay, I can make shit look pretty in Max, but I can also make it work in the game and fit and look great. If you can show me you can be an artist, a real artist making art for games. They're artists, and they're artists that make art for games. There's a big gulf between the two, and honestly, I don't think a lot of people even make that distinction or understand that is a distinction.
I'm pretty sure we talked about that before, the whole concept of game art and editor art.
Totally.
Something in Max.
Oh, yeah, that's the perfect way of putting it.
Dude, you
Game
know what
art
pisses me off
versus
so
editor.
bad? I
Clown.
don't know. This is stupid. This is a stupid thing to be mad about, but... okay, check this out. A guy who makes something in Max, renders it out, and it looks nice, and it looks just like game art. But instead, they split that up into like the foreground, midground, and background. Take that into Photoshop and paint in particle effects and lighting and more background stuff, skies and foreground and whatnot. And
It's like, dude,
but
we can tell.
they're specifically not trying to do like a high-end, like a matte painting, like high-end realistic stuff. They're specifically trying to make it look like a game, but it's being faked. To me, it's like...
That gives me less
Why-
confidence in your skills.
Why wouldn't you just make a particle effect or make a nice little fog and background and put it in Unreal or CryEngine 3? They're free. Jeez, that's the whole point. It's real time. A lot of people are trying to take the game out of art. You gotta make it. You're still making a game. Damn it! It's still real to me. Real time.
Oh my god, I'm trying to think of a Reverend Jesse Jackson kind of phrase. It's like as far as the job gets, if they don't fit, you won't get it. The job.
Oh, that's more like
Who am I thinking of?
the attorney for OJ.
Oh,
Whatever
yeah.
his name was. Anyway,
Wait,
that's not important. The point is,
Wow, awkward.
we're talking about portfolios here, dude. But one of the coolest things I ever saw in a portfolio that a guy did, where he was specifically explaining what he did in that scene, is he had his screenshots, which is, man, you're rubbing your eyes. Nice.
Yeah, I broke my glasses and I have to go back to contacts, and I hate them.
I hear you.
Ah, balls. I keep forgetting I have an eyebrow piercing. I totally just... anyway, sorry.
What a
go on.
doofus.
I know.
This guy, he had basically all his portfolio screenshots were like literally a screenshot, right? Screenshot of the game, boom. But I forget how it worked. If you overlaid it or didn't overlay it or something like that, it would black out the sections that weren't his content.
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought that was pretty cool because it
It's
was one of
classic.
those situations where he had a lot that he did, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that he didn't do. I can't say you particular what these were, but man, I thought that was a neat idea.
It's classy and that's respectful. See, I mean, honestly, when I see someone do something like that, kind of go above and beyond to show, well, just be respectful.
Yeah, he
I
set up
acknowledge what
website
people
code
did.
to acknowledge who did what. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool. I respect that a lot. I don't like to be left guessing. So yeah, just basically to answer the emailer's original question, just label exactly what you did. Just if you have to, take a screenshot, go into Photoshop, canvas size, just add another like 80 pixels, whatever the hell, and just write down along the bottom who did what, and highlight what you did. It doesn't work as well if it's outside that image. I actually had an experience once where I was applying to a studio showing my character art. It wasn't for a position where I was going to be a character artist, but it was relevant because I was going to be managing a very large art team. And I had, the image of what I did, and directly beneath it I said, model by Jon Jones, texture by so-and-so.
Oh, yeah.
But the art director for that studio, the art director for that studio, he wasn't involved in the hiring process. Is a weird thing. But he looked through it. He didn't read that. He didn't look at that. I got hired, and he found out that I didn't do that, and he was kind of pissed off about it. I wrote it down. I did my best, but but my feeling is, if it's in the image, it's going to be fucking impossible not to see. But if it's outside the image, if it's just text, I mean, art directors and art leads they're just going to look at the images, and they're going to skim over text. But if it's important enough to be a part of the image as text, you have a better chance of them seeing that and noticing. Does that make sense? I mean, is that...
That does make sense. And I was just thinking about my own site as an example. Really, the only art that I have on there that's not mine, 100%, is my art from Warhammer as of right now. I'll probably update this podcast down the road, but for each one of those images, each of those images are just screenshots. But at the top, I have a description that says exactly what I did. which is kind of the opposite of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're saying put it on the image.
Yeah, I mean,
Which your point does make a lot of sense.
I put mine below the image, which may have been my mistake. For artists, like best case, I'd suggest making it a part of the image because, for example, I mean, well, actually that kind of ties into our whole image branding thing. If that image gets saved off, who's gonna know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who would know?
So I'm gonna grab a beer really quick. I'll be right back.
Fair enough.
Enjoy my fan.
Your fan. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that, Jean. So yeah, I mean, there's a, as far as crediting other artists, I could definitely see people putting in screenshots and you don't know what that is. Oh, it sounds like John put his mic. You hear that? Maybe only I hear it. Hopefully only I hear it. Okay, check this out. I've seen guys like if you got a designer portfolio, some people just put screenshots in that. And maybe the designer only did the layout. Who knows? But I've seen other designers that can do all the art in the level just as well. So that's another example. What do you got there? U.S. something patrol, border patrol.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wear many hats.
A man of many hats.
Maybe that'll be my new shtick. Every time I go off camera, I come back with a new hat.
There you go. It's like an episode of Squidbillies.
I haven't seen that in a couple of years, to tell you the truth.
Well, it's same show.
Oh, by the way, just total random shout out. I'm not even sure if they sell this outside of Texas. But the Real Ale 15th Anniversary Ale, it's an Imperial Stout. Freaking awesome. Probably fairly limited edition. It's probably going to be really hard to find, but I'm enjoying this immensely. I love good beer. Anywho.
You know, I've been drinking a wine lately. I switched.
Really?
I switched.
What
used to
prompted
always.
that?
Well, I would have like a rum and Diet Dew. But I felt like, okay, you're drinking caffeinated liquor.
You just do Four Loko. Just go back to your stockpile.
Sometimes I just wouldn't feel so great the next day, so I'm just going to wean off of that and go to wine. And what I do is when I do drink wine, every time I just get something different every time. And I found a really nice, well, look, every place sells wine, but I found a really nice one just a couple blocks away from me. But it closes early, so I got to get there on the Saturday. Anyway, I'm just trying out this one I've never tried before, and it really smells like garbage.
What's it called? What's the brewery?
Winery. I'd have to look. The bottle's over on the table, but I've only had a little bit. But it's just it tastes fine, but smell. But it could be a smell in my apartment too, because when I came in, I cooked a bunch of vegetables last night and didn't take out the trash. And you know how vegetables are.
Yeah.
Instantly, whoa.
Yeah, broccoli can be a pretty nasty offender.
That was what I cooked.
Oh, yep. I
had a big stem of broccoli just laying on the counter. Nice job.
Yeah, broccoli is one of the stinkier ones. Did I ever tell you about one of the times I cleared out a studio because of food I was eating?
No, well, it's not that you told me. You tell the fans.
Okay, so I'm kind of an adventure foodie. I enjoy eating really weird, strange things like scorpion vodka, durian fruit, cobra whiskey.
Is it true you're getting a TV deal because of this?
I'm actually talking to a cable television network about having my videos broadcast in several countries. They approached me. It's freaking weird, but kind of cool.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm an adventure foodie. I like eating weird stuff, and I had bought a can of squid in ink.
Oh, jeez.
And I decided to, when I was working at 2K, I decided to take that into work and microwave it.
Jeez, you microwaved it?
I microwaved it.
There was a guy I used to work with. One day he made garlic bread in the oven at work. It's like, you son of a bitch. But you microwaved
squid in ink.
Squid.
It's a whole squid. I mean, like this big.
A whole squid.
And so the office is, I think, 2,500 square feet, and there was like a separate kitchen, but the smell crept out of the kitchen. The people closest to the kitchen are like, "What the fuck is that smell?" People a little further away were saying, "What smell?" Then after like 4 or 5 seconds, they're like, "Oh God, it's here now!" And people like it was like it went in waves across the room. They cleared out the office for the better part of the day. Had to air it all out. I had to go eat it out in our balcony. And yes, I ate it. I ate the whole thing. It was actually really tasty. But I poured, so we're on a second floor balcony, and I poured the juice out over the side, whatever. And then I went and I
landed right in some lady's hair.
Worse. Well, it didn't land on anything bad, but what happened after was kind of worse. So I took the rest of it out, threw it away in a dumpster as far away from the office as possible. It kind of pissed off everybody. And
that's so John.
In order to try to like cover up the smell, I went ahead and microwaved some broccoli. So I cleared out the studio for the day. And
broccoli smells so bad when you cook it. I eat broccoli all the time raw because it smells so bad when I cooked my broccoli the other night. I threw my broccoli on last because I knew it was gonna stink. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I always liked broccoli. I didn't know it stank that bad until then. And I was telling people like, I tried to do broccoli to cover up the smell. They're like, broccoli smells like shit. What the fuck are you doing?
It's brutal.
But anyway, so after I did that, about a week later, so I remember I dumped out the rest of the squid juice from the second floor balcony. We had a turkey vulture show up.
Damn.
A 3-foot tall turkey vulture with a 6-ish foot wingspan. It landed on the balcony and just spread its wings out fully, and then turned to face my desk and just sat there like that for 10 minutes, sunning its wings, just fucking staring at me. And for the next, I want to say 6 or 7 months, that fucking thing showed up almost every single day on our patio looking for more horrible, stinky food for it to eat because it smelled so bad, the vulture thought it was death.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And I microwaved it to eat.
Classic, John. You know what else is so classic, John? You broke your finger.
Yeah, I did.
What in the world? Oh, it's a pinky finger, huh?
Yeah, it really sucked.
You was fingering that butthole too hard, huh?
Yeah, I can't get enough of fingering any butthole I can find. No, actually, it's a pretty good story. I'm kind of proud of it. So I was out in the park, and a toddler came between a grizzly bear cub and its mother. So I mean, there's only one thing I could do. So I ran over the toddler. I picked him up. I hurled him at the mother bear as hard as I could and ran like hell in the opposite direction. And I tripped on a branch.
That sounds like a fraudulent story.
As you do. I'm just, I'm not a brave man. I'm not a proud man. No, I tripped on something, leaned up my hands to try and catch me, and my finger jammed up against a wall really fucking hard and fractured in a couple places. So I've got this. I've got like 1 or 2 in there, and I think another one in there. I can bend it, but it hurts like hell, and it's getting worse. This is about 4 or 5 days ago. It really sucks. I'm not happy about it at all.
Well,
I can't. This is my corn shucking hand. I can't shuck corn.
Damn it!
I know.
And that's your writing hand though.
Yeah, I mean.
So working is probably a pain.
Fortunately, I write like this, so it's okay.
Pinky out, like all classy.
I can't bend my fucking finger. There's a splint on it, you dick. Yeah, although I guess I do look classy.
Oh, so classy. Look at how classy he drinks that beer. All the boys turn their head.
And even in my fancy little glass.
Sam Adams.
It's good glass.
Classy all the way.
Ow! I just jammed my fucking toe. Dude, I'm accent prone as fuck, man.
It's part of your way, and that's what's important.
Some people in life are simply there to serve as a warning to others. The German term Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude, yeah.
Yeah, that was the name of the team that developed Nightcaster 2 for Xbox because it was like a 9-month crunch dev cycle, and they knew it from the start, so they called themselves Schadenfreude.
That is awesome. The rough translation is the emotion you get from reveling in the pain and misfortune of others.
Yeah, isn't it like basically German for being sadistic or masochistic? Actually, masochistic, like it's self-inflicted pain.
No, it's enjoying someone else's pain.
Well, either way, it's one of those terms, and you can Google it if you want to.
Here, I'll write it down.
Ow!
Fuck! I wiggled my hand and it made my finger. God damn it! I swear that wasn't faked.
You're bringing us to new levels, new heights on this show, and that's what's important.
Heights or loaths?
I think it's heights because I was reading some forum posts and people really like that silly back and forth banter, whatever that means.
We have a good banter.
A very good repertoire.
Repertoire. It's like a menage a trois, but not nearly as fun.
Yeah, you know Brian wanted to be here tonight.
Repertoire. Aw. What's his
Brian
excuse?
He got really sick the other day, like a bad cold or something.
Too many pull-ups.
And yeah. Well, my first thought was he was just got the mono from getting too many girls. But
that guy and his horse.
He blames it on water skiing and the water being really cold and blah blah, and then immediately coming out and partying. Because we had a party, an Ilphonic party Sunday night for. It was kind of a humorous bit of a misconception. Yeah, check this out. A misconception of logic. We had a Labor Day party at work.
You guys are so fucking weird.
But it was a good party. I mean, we had a keg, and there was a ton of people that showed up that I'd never even seen before. It was a good ratio. A good ratio.
Good hoe ratio.
Mm-hmm. Ratio ho. And but there was a few guys there that were actual like MMA fighters, like our buddy Ben that does fighting, and I'm trying to get him on this podcast. He showed up for a little bit, and there was this guy I'd never seen before. And actually, you can Google this guy if you want. Actually, let me make sure this address is right. If you YouTube Eric Buck and MMA, as in the letters MMA, which will come up automatically if you type Eric Buck. And you'll get his, well, there's some stupid promoted video, but it's his highlight reel. He has a highlight reel, dude. Are you kidding me?
Serious business.
If somebody shows up at your party and he's got a highlight reel that somebody else put together on YouTube,
that is pretty cool.
then he's probably all right. Because you can't have an MMA highlight where you're legitimately fighting other people and your highlight being you know, like losing bad. I mean, that'd
be a low light reel.
Yeah. Like I said, this highlights. Anyway, pretty talented dude and pretty cool.
Cool.
He seemed to have a really good time. But so yeah, it was an interesting party. Got to hang out with some interesting people.
That's cool. But yeah, you guys are a pretty cool party studio. I mean, like the one of your, I guess your studio owner is all plugged into like the local club scene and music venues
creative
and whatnot.
director or the president or you just talking about Raphael?
Yeah.
Raphael's the hookup.
I'd like to meet him sometime. Seems like a cool dude who knows what's going on.
Yeah, I think he's on tour right now. I'm not sure. I follow him on Twitter. I haven't seen any updates lately.
I follow him on the Twitter now.
Yeah. But so one of the things I was kind of thinking about talking about just a little bit because we got time and we've really nailed our other topics pretty well so far.
Yeah, we've stayed pretty well on point. I mean, like all about game dev or games pretty much the whole time.
I wanted to switch it up, like I was saying. I was hanging out with those MMA guys, and I wanted to drop some MMA talk, if you don't mind,
Ooh.
because there's been a lot of things going down.
Well, I do Moonlight isn't
As
UFC champion.
Yeah, Jon Jones. I wonder if we can get some hits just based on having your name.
Dude, just add MMA.
That's where
as a
most of them
tag.
probably come from.
Dude, add MMA as a tag to this podcast, and I guarantee, featuring Jon Jones, they're gonna watch this whole fucking thing all the
Holy
way up
F.
to this point, waiting for Jon Jones to come on. Oh, actually, just funny random thing.
Well, hey,
The friend-
you're actually legit older than him, so
I know.
that means you're the first person ever. No, anyway,
Yep.
go ahead.
Actually, it's a funny story. I have a buddy named Dave Taylor, who's one of the programmers on the original Doom and Quake. And there's another Dave Taylor apparently that writes about. Well, actually, so Dave Taylor is a programmer, and there's another guy that talks about programming and video games and whatnot. And they're like really, really close just in terms of subject matter and fighting for Google rankings. But apparently, my friend Dave Taylor did an interview with the other Dave Taylor. He sent me a link to earlier today that I'm going to end up reading. But I just thought that was sort of a funny mashup. I wonder if the UFC Jon Jones would ever submit to an interview with me or a fight.
A fight, dude. I wouldn't. You shouldn't accept that.
If I could get on video, I think it'd be really fucking funny.
He's a killer. But anyway,
Oh.
yeah. So check this out. MMA news. One of the things that a lot of those guys, there was a few of these guys who were apparently friends of Diego Sanchez, and Diego Sanchez was sanctioned to fight here in Denver at UFC 135 against Matt Hughes. But then, the next day, he broke his hand in training.
What an asshole!
Well, that's just it's just part of the game, man. Injuries happen. If
No,
you've
I
been
know.
a fan of MMA, one of the biggest things happens a lot is guys get injured training because training is
Brutal.
dangerous, man. It's brutal. But so unfortunately he's out. But Josh Koscheck is in.
Koscheck.
For me, I'm gonna actually be there in Denver. I got tickets for this UFC event 135.
Oh, yeah,
so it's gonna
yeah,
be
remember you told me.
sweet.
Cool.
And I also got tickets for Joe Rogan the night before, and it's gonna be sweet.
You bought
Anyway.
you bought tickets for him? That's so considerate.
Dude, I bought tickets. I spent so much money on tickets for that, like his show plus UFC. Man, whew. Anyway, so yeah, I would have preferred to see Diego Sanchez versus Matt Hughes, specifically because they've both been training for each other for so long that you would think that it might be a more exciting fight. But you never know what's going to happen. When some guy comes in short notice, you could have something crazy go down, like that guy just wins. But you never know.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm excited for that.
That's the joy of MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back when I worked at 2K, half the company, well, 5 people, were super into MMA. We'd always hit like every pay-per-view and host from each other's houses all the time. We kind of fell out of habit of doing that. We're starting. I think we're going to start that up again. Let's get that whole thing together. It's really cool doing that with just like a group of people. And our producer, one of my very dear friends, she is trained in MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and she's actually able to really dissect the fight, like all the fights, in a really interesting, very technical way because she's actually done all that shit and knows how to do most of it. It's really, and she'll actually demonstrate some of the moves on people because it is so fucking, brutally more painful than you'd expect.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. Back when I did wrestling.
You're in wrestling, yeah.
Back when I did wrestling, me and Tracy, we watched all the UFCs as well. So we would practice all those moves on each other that we saw from that, all the jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Oh, nice.
So when we went into wrestling class and we'd have what we called shoot fighting, which was basically, in short, gentlemen's rules, legit fighting in class. And we'd do this all the time because it's really what it's all about. We would just be choking people out left and right because we practiced on my floor at home after watching UFCs, and God, I love that stuff.
So you and Tracy traded BJJs?
BJJs. No gi, bro. So check this out. The big news of the week just happened today. I'm glad you liked that
great.
line.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, there's this big super fight that's been planned to happen here. The Strikeforce champion versus the UFC champion. Nick Diaz versus George St. Pierre.
Woo, GSP.
Oh, dude, he would thrash him. But look at what happened. Nick Diaz for the third time in a row, didn't show up for a press conference. So Dana White just said, "You're out," and now Carlos Condit has got the title fight.
Interesting.
Yeah, it just happened.
Wow.
Like it's,
Fucking title fight. I mean, how do you fuck up that much, man?
dude,
Come on.
Come
on.
It wasn't like he had to pay for it. UFC, Dana White gave this big press conference today. It was kind of, I felt like kind of embarrassed for the guys because it was Dana White and GSP in an empty chair. It was supposed to be Nick Diaz, and apparently they gave him like 3. You can watch the whole thing to hear their perspective because they'll tell you what's up. And even Diaz, his head trainer, I guess, his coach, Cesar Gracie, apparently he couldn't find him. Like he was this is ridiculous. If you watch the press conference, Dana White gets a phone call during the press conference from Cesar Gracie, and he takes the call at the press conference and then tells everybody what he just heard. And he's literally saying, "I don't know what happened," and he apologized and all this stuff, and he didn't even know where Diaz was, and apparently he had Diaz in his house and he snuck out. I don't even know, dude. It's all speculation, but it's like I've always been a big Diaz fan, but it's like, man, come on, just please give us. You just gotta fight. Just fight.
That's fucking pathetic. I mean, I can only assume he's like hanging out in like instead of going there to actually be at a press conference or fight, he's just hanging out in schoolyards exposing himself to kids. I mean, it's only a logical thing to assume.
You know, he's probably just smoking pot or something.
Or that.
It's really unfortunate. It's an unfortunate
my answer is more
story.
racy.
It's unfortunate for everyone involved because, like I said, I'm a big Diaz fan. I wanted to see him fight, and he would have got a huge payday. It would have been a big fight for George St. Pierre. Nevertheless, this is a huge opportunity for Condit. Carlos Condit now has a title fight. Apparently, according to Dana White, he called him and told him that they wanted him for this fight. Apparently, the dude like broke down in tears and had to call him back 15 minutes later because he was just so honored to get this opportunity to fight for the title. Like that's okay. Now that's the kind of guy that I want to see fight. A dude
that's fucking cool.
A dude that is that serious.
He wants it. He's grateful. He's hungry.
Yeah, and he immediately jumped on a plane. And he immediately jumped on a plane to Vegas to start doing PR, whereas Diaz wouldn't jump on 3.
That's fucking cool.
Like I said, that's unfortunate, but hopefully it's a good opportunity for him.
I hope so. When are they fighting?
Shoot, what UFC is that? 137? UFC 137. Let me wiki that for you.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. And actually, on a somewhat related note, my girlfriend is really into boxing and not so much UFC, but I'm trying to kind of get her into it. Showing her
that event's at October 29th, by the way.
Okay, October 29th. Noted. So my girlfriend's not into UFC so much, but I'm trying to get her a little bit more into it and get her to come out to like one of the little fight nights that we do. But I've had this work with an ex or two. They weren't into UFC, but as soon as they saw George St. Pierre, they're like, "Oh,
he's the guy.
Oh, I'd watch him fight. Yeah, get all sweaty. No, don't hit him in the face. Don't hit him in the face. Get all sweaty. Yeah."
Well, so he's one of those smart guys that tries to avoid that too.
Which is good. I mean, that's his meal ticket. But I think GSP is going to be how I get my girlfriend into MMA because I mean, he's
you know what
he's an attractive man.
You know what you should do? You should get her to watch this press conference because it puts GSP in a very almost. I got to make the right way of saying this because it's not something that takes away from his fighting. It kind of puts him in a bit of a vulnerable state because he's expressing his emotions about how this is going to be a great fight and he's trying to express himself, but he's from French Canada, so his English isn't so well, but he has a really awesome accent. So he's very sympathetic. So I think if you want to get your girl into MMA, you should let her hear that press conference because she can be like, "Oh, his voice, he's so dreamy."
Sounds like a panty dropper. No,
Yeah,
actually, well,
should be getting
what's funny is for anybody else, I'm sure that would work. But my girlfriend's actually fluent in French, and she knows the difference between that and kind of French Canadian.
Oh, so she's like, oh, this fucking redneck, this hick.
Actually, yeah. She and I were making fun of Benoit.
Yeah.
Not Chris Benoit. Benoit. We're kind of making fun of him for
Benoit.
being Benoit. Making fun of him for being, from French Canadian and basically being, redneck force people. No offense intended. This is not an opinion I actually hold. You're all wonderful people. Please don't hurt me.
Yeah. The only I guess the real big downside to that Carlos Condit taking that spot is he was supposed to fight BJ Penn. And they haven't announced BJ Penn's replacement fight. So
love watching BJ Penn. That motherfucker.
The prodigy. Did you see his brother? His brother Regan Penn just debuted.
No, I didn't know he had a brother in MMA. Sweet.
Yeah, his brother, he looks almost just like him and sounds like him, and he's also pretty awesome. So he just debuted in MMA he had his first fight over the he kicked ass. I don't know that this event threw him a tomato can or what. I don't really know what was happening there, but
dude, they look fucking identical. That's crazy.
Apparently, this guy has been a guy that should have. What people say is, people are always going to put him over. I'm sure he's awesome at jiu-jitsu if he's BJ's brother and he also trains. But apparently, everybody was saying that he's like a gorilla in the gym. He's always been awesome for a long time, but he just never wanted to do, step up into actual doing MMA fighting until now. And so apparently he's like this big sleeper, you know what I mean? Like people didn't know about him, but he's amazing. But yeah, we'll see. I wish him the best, and I can't wait to watch him fight more. Speaking of watching more fights, here's the big one for me. Alistar Overeem just signed up.
I'm somewhat aware of the name. I think I want to say you told me.
Yeah. Remember the picture of the big, huge guy kicking the pad that the little girl was holding, and then she falls down?
No.
You gotta find that GIF. I can look for it for you, but anyway, Alistar Overeem just they had some dispute with their managers and with Strikeforce. He was the Strikeforce champion, and he was moving forward in the Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix, and all of a sudden, boom, he was cut. Grand Prix, and suddenly he was cut because there was some dispute with their management, and it was like, oh man, this is horrible. I want to watch this guy fight. But boom, all of a sudden, he's signed with UFC, and he's got his first fight scheduled for December 30th against a returning Brock Lesnar.
Oh, you did tell me about this.
And he had that diverticulitis twice.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a huge colon disease, and he had to have a huge section of his colon removed. But they say now he's 100%, and he's good to go, and he's ready to go. And those two guys are like the biggest dudes on earth.
I'm just looking at pictures of Alistar Overeem. Holy shit, that guy is a monster. Wow. Yeah, Brock and wow, that's gonna be a good fight. I'm just looking forward to seeing Brock fight because I always loved him since the MMA days. Or MMA, WWE, yeah.
Dude, when Brock Lesnar first showed up in the WWE, that guy was an absolute monster. I just linked you that video of Alistar kicking that little girl. There's actually a GIF of this you can find. It's just the footage. The first kick isn't so bad.
Well, holy shit! Hang on a second.
The second kick drops him.
Okay. Sorry about that. I thought the sound was coming out of my laptop speakers, which have been broken for like 2 or 3 months, and I completely freaked out.
No big deal. Yeah,
Thank you for singing.
when Brock Lesnar first showed up in WWE, he was just a monster. He is so like legitimately big and legitimately strong. Like he has these monstrous traps. It's just a mammoth of a human being. And when he first showed up in World Wrestling Entertainment, he was able to just pick up anybody and manhandle them like no other because he had all this legitimate strength. He was an NCAA champion, like legit amateur wrestler, and was signed straight into WWE. And back then, this was before MMA was really making big money, so they were able to throw him a huge contract, and he just went after it. So yeah, he just went for it, and
he didn't sign the contract. He tackled it.
He destroyed it. He tried to sign the contract, but it broke.
This motherfucker did the shooting star press.
He jumps off the top rope and does a backflip at that size. Whew.
Wait, okay, so is he face the ring or is he facing away from the ring? I can never remember.
You're facing towards the ring, and you're doing a backflip, but you're moving forward.
And then you land on your fucking chest on top of your opponent.
On a guy, yeah.
And this motherfucker made 3/4 of the way across the ring doing it. People broken their necks doing it.
He actually did injure his neck in WrestleMania in a match versus Kurt Angle. You can find that on YouTube.
I remember. He didn't even remember the end of that match.
Yeah, things got crazy.
But I mean, this dude, when he was 15, he was already like 6'12" and 1,500 pounds. This guy's a fucking monster.
That's a bit of a stretch, but pretty close. Anyway, he had an amazing career in WWE. But after that, he tried out the NFL. He went to Japan, did some pro wrestling before finally getting signed with UFC and was thrown right into the mix. And he's a guy that knows how to promote matches because you either love him or hate him, and either way, he's making money because of that. So there you go.
Absolutely. Like, remember that match of like him and Keith Jardine?
Keith Jardine? Brock never fought Keith Jardine. You're thinking of Crazy Horse, or not Crazy Horse, but
the dude that lasted all 3 rounds
against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
a decision fight.
Yeah.
You might want to Google that.
I am right now. I thought it was Keith Jardine.
No, he hasn't ever fought Keith Jardine. You see, they're in different weight classes.
Who the hell am I thinking of? This has been like I easily well over 2 years since I saw this. No, I'm thinking of Heath Herring.
Yeah, Heath Herring was the guy
that fucking dude lasted a long ass time against him. He lasted all the way into the match, even though by all rights he should be legally dead like 12 times over. But man, I guess
apparently that first punch broke his orbital.
Jesus,
that one that knocked him back, that he did the cartwheel back, apparently that broke his orbital. But
so was that the fight where the very, very first thing Brock did was charge like a fucking bull across the ring and just knock all the wind out of him and every child he'll ever have?
Well, that might have happened. But that's kind of how Brock started a lot of his early fights. And he lost his first fight in UFC against Frank Mir.
Frank Mir, yeah.
Because Frank Mir caught him in the knee bar.
I remember seeing that.
And it's one of those things. Apparently, that's I don't know for sure. I'm listening. I'm just parroting what those guys say. Is apparently the knee bar is one of those, like, apparently wrestlers leave feet open, and so it's easier to catch them in a lot of those leg locks. Just because in amateur wrestling, it's more about pins and not necessarily submissions. But yeah, after losing to Frank Mir, he beat Heath Herring. He beat Randy Couture, and then Frank Mir again, and Shane Carwin, before finally losing to Cain Velasquez after being punched in the back of the head. If you watch the video, controversy.
So wait a second. What should I search the YouTubes for?
Oh, you don't have to search anything. Are you talking about the Lesnar Cain Velasquez fight? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Sorry, I was typing something at you and tuned out for like half a sec. I'm actually trying to find a way to watch those fights tonight. I'm really in the mood for that now.
Well, a lot of that stuff you can just kind of search around and like YouTube. There's a lot of fights. One of the things actually UFC is pretty good about. A lot of the fights that made a lot of money, they kind of put out for free.
That's cool. I respect that.
So that's very, very good of them. There's a lot of stuff that they like to shut down. Usually, if you YouTube a video of a UFC fight, and it's been up on YouTube, and you look at the date, the timestamp of when it's been up there for over a year, and that means they're probably cool with that. Because if there's anything that UFC has understood is how powerful the internet is for their own promotion. Like Dana White has millions of followers. They've shown their UFC prelims on YouTube. They regularly show them on Facebook. And their website, UFC.com, has just so many fights on it you can watch. So I'm pretty sure, unless it's like some crazy site in Russia or something, if it's a major site like YouTube, then they're allowing it to be on there. And they have their own YouTube channel, which has tons of videos too.
Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna check that out then.
So like I said, they're very pro internet. If they didn't want it on there, they'd go after it. They've shut down plenty of sites because of that too. People that are streaming that shit.
That's so cool. They still have at least somewhat of a cool approach and attitude toward like helping kind of promote their brand.
Well, these days you have to be able to step up that shit.
Yeah.
WWE is just getting into that apparently.
Good. Like, dude, remember Saturday Night Live used to be the worst about that forever?
Dude, SNL used to shut down every video that you could find of them.
Like, how am I going to find Colonel Angus or Colin Blow? Come on. Come on. Or Jim Carrey's a lifeguard?
The best, like any of those old sketch programs, those are perfect for the internet because they're just little blocks, short blocks of video that are funny.
Dude, exactly.
That was built for the internet.
Dude, this past year, though, I think maybe a little bit longer ago, they put up like 30 years of SNL on Hulu, I think it was.
Oh, right on.
That's finally, which I think is cool as fuck.
Yeah, finally. That's very good of them.
Dude, I want to link that to everybody ever, just because, I mean, older SNL was awesome. I mean, like late 90s SNL? Fucking A. Anyway, sorry, completely off subject.
No, you got a good point about it. You got to accept the internet. There's so many shows that people talk about, oh, this show and that show, and I don't even know about it because I'm not watching TV every day. But look at you getting that big old fat pussy on screen. Look at those blue eyes. Oh, he did it for real. It's adorable.
No.
Claw
Just
him.
headbutted me.
Nice. I hope you broke your nose.
That's Gizmo. That's my little girl.
No, one of the things I was talking about is AdultSwim.com. Those guys are the most accepting of the internet of anything, as far as I'm concerned. Comedy Central does a really good job of it too, but Adult Swim, every one of their shows is online within a few days of it airing, and that's pretty awesome.
Dude, I read a couple weeks ago actually. Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares with the Gordon Ramsay, like I will murder you with a trident. Yes. You burnt the steak. Just shit like that. They used to put new episodes up the next day after the episodes aired, but Fox started delaying it a week, and literally overnight piracy tripled.
Yeah.
It fucking tripled.
Dude,
they're even showing it with
ridiculous
ads on Hulu, with fucking ads the next day, making money off of that. But they delayed it by a week, and they lost a colossal amount of
delay
revenue.
a week, it's bullshit. Look, you need to wait. If you're a TV show and if you don't have your crap online at the night that it airs, even better not the same freaking time, then you're blowing it. You need to wake the fuck up.
I agree.
It's over, dude. It is over.
And there are rumors of Hulu going public, which I think is awesome. I love seeing that work. Like I have an antenna. I watch almost no TV ever. I'll get stuff on DVD or I'll watch.
I've got internet, but I don't have cable. And I've got a big TV right next to me.
Yeah, I have a huge TV. I just stream stuff. I like either from my 360 or just plug in my laptop and stream stuff like Netflix.
Exactly.
I've been going through everything ever on Netflix. I'm actually getting my girl into Futurama. She's a huge Simpsons fan since forever, and I have
I've got
all
all
the
those
Simpsons
DVDs.
DVDs.
Man. I've got all the Futurama and all the Simpsons DVDs. So
Dude, Schwartzwelder.
I own
Schwartzwelder.
all of John Schwartzwelder's books, dude. If there's any books I
Dude.
suggest, if you want to read stupid ass books that read like watching an episode of The Simpsons, get John Schwartzwelder's books. Get them on Amazon. It's the only place.
Okay, I'm going to. That guy is a goddamn genius.
They're cheap,
Have you heard the
easy to read
stories
books.
about him and why he went from being a writer to a consultant?
I heard about how crazy he is. I know all about that guy, man. He's my favorite comedic writer as far as like all that's concerned.
He's a fucking genius. I probably haven't heard as much as you, but
Yeah.
he wasn't allowed in the writer's room anymore because he just smoked all the time.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where he just worked from home and smoked from there. And then all of his scripts, everything he did, he just drive up to the lot,
Throw it out the window and drive off in some old big car. Dude he's a legend. He is a legend. In those, if you listen to the Simpsons DVD commentaries, he's legendary. They have tried so hard to get him on there, and there's one commentary where the guy gets his phone out and calls John and gets just like a few words out of John where he's like, hey John, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just frying a steak. He's like, oh cool, we're doing a commentary right now, and I was wondering if you wanted to say anything about it. It's like, oh, you're doing a commentary? Yeah, well, that's too bad because this isn't really John Schwartzwelder, and hangs up. That might be a misquote, but it's pretty much like that.
I haven't gone through the commentaries yet, but I'm totally fucking going to now. Dude. That guy is The Simpsons.
Yeah, if you don't know what John Schwartzwelder really did, he wrote at least over 60 episodes, and he defined like a lot of those really, really funny Homer episodes, or Homer or Mr. Burns, or the combination. Almost
the monorail
all
episode?
The monorail was written by Conan O'Brien.
Oh, I thought that was Schwartzwelder.
No, that is a Conan O'Brien episode.
Oh,
but
well, good.
Nevertheless, I'm on top of that shit, bro. I'm the man. I love my fucking comedy writers, and I love voice actors. I can name them all. Anyway, point is, those two types of episodes, if you said, I like this Monty Burns episode, or I like this Homer episode, it's probably written by him. And the combination of them, and John Schwartzwelder is the kind of guy that, he was always the guy that was coming up with all the old terms, like old-timey words that Schwartzwelder would use for Monty Burns. And he said that he felt that it was you were cheating if you had to look in the dictionary an old-timey word.
Whoa.
He was just like, he would make these crazy old school references from way back.
So one of my favorite ones was Mr. Burns answers the phone saying "ahoy hoy," which was the way people used to. Which was the way people. I can't remember. Was it Alexander Graham Bell or just people old timey that would actually used to answer the phone that way? Like that's like straight up fucking legit, and that's just like this tiny little reference just thrown in the middle of everything else ever.
Oh yeah, I'll throw out one of my like old terminology, old school kind of favorite Mr. Burnsy lines. He was going into a post office with a letter, and he's like, young man, I need to get this message to the Prime Minister of oh geez, I just blew it. What are the references? Siam. Okay, I need to get this young man. I need to get this message to the Prime Minister of Prussia in Siam. Is the auto gyro still running? And they're both like defunct countries that don't exist anymore, and technology that doesn't exist. It was this massive combination of God. Smithers, this monkey's gonna need most of your skin.
Dude, that fucking guy. Okay, I'm totally gonna listen to every commentary for every episode ever. Now.
What, Schwartzwelder's got a Facebook? Is this legit him? I mean,
no, it's a fan page.
Fan page, okay. Because I recognize all this stuff. Dude, the titles of his books are so funny. His first book, the title of it is "The Time Machine Did It," and the other title is "A Double Wonderful." Hold on, I'm gonna grab the book so people know I'm legit.
I'm trying to find it to see if he's actually on Facebook. And damn, no, it's just some skinny little douche bro. Lame.
All right.
But I just liked John Schwartzwelder on Facebook based on this conversation.
Let me see here. All right, first I'm holding up The Time Machine Did It. Hilarious. Double Wonderful. Okay, first of all, I'd like to say The Time Machine Did It is one of the, is I guess his first little novella here. It's actually what do we got here? Like about just shy of 140 pages. Really easy to read because it's so funny. Every paragraph is just ridiculous. There's been times when I've been on planes reading these. I can read one of these on one plane flight to Vegas. Easy, no big deal. But I'll be sitting there reading it just like just bust out laughing on the plane. Look like an asshole.
You're that guy.
These books started with this character called Frank Burley as a detective that he created, and almost all of his books are about Frank Burley the detective. However, the book Double Wonderful, which is a great title,
Yes.
it's actually a Western, whereas most of the rest of them are just these humor mysteries or sci-fi humor mystery. But yeah,
Mysteries.
Double Wonderful is hilarious. But oh my god. Okay.
I didn't know you read.
I don't know which order these came out in, but from there, another Frank Burley story. This is very hard to see because it's a bright Dead Men Scare Me Stupid.
That Facebook page, I think he actually does write on it.
That's pretty awesome. I'm down for that. Oh yeah, these books all cost like $15.95. They're cheap. But Dead Men Scare Me Stupid is considered a humor sci-fi because it's about ghosts and stuff. The other one, which is another humor sci-fi, but that also is a Frank Burley story. Another Frank Burley story is one of my favorite titles, How I Conquered Your Planet.
Oh, that one I know for a fact I've heard of. Actually, I'll be right back. I'm going to grab another beer real quick.
All right, I'll just keep talking about these books.
Cool.
The next one I have here is The Exploding Detective, another Frank Burley story. And then Earth versus Everybody, kind of following that same line. And he has another book out, which is actually, I got to get it off Amazon. I'm going to look it up right now to make sure I know the name, so you can get the name too. Oh, by the way, John Swartzwelder, that's John, John, and Swartzwelder, that's, you know, classically tough name to spell. Swartz, Welder. Yeah. So apparently he's got another book out that I need to get. Oh yeah, The 50-Foot Detective. That's it. This actually came out earlier this year, April 2011, I guess. And here I am without having that book. Wait, do I have the last? Oh, I also have The Last Detective Alive. Look at you in a new hat. This was in a different stack because I was still reading it. The Last Detective Alive, which you can see at the top of are my bookmarks of flights. What are these flights? I got a Frontier flight to San Francisco, so that's probably GDC. What's this other one? Yeah, it looks like a GDC. For some reason, I didn't finish reading that one, but I'll do that, and I'll buy his new book, The 50-Foot Detective, which I'm sure is another Frank Burley story.
I'm gonna buy every single one of those fucking books.
They're cheap, dude. Buy them.
Dude, I've been going all out in The Simpsons lately. Me and my girl is basically alternating between Simpsons and Futurama. We are going nuts. We just started, well, and we're going around randomly, but dude, season 13 has some of the most solid shit. Like, I mean, like, we're massive fans of like seasons 4 through 9. But, and, you know, honestly, I mean, I still think it's one of the best shows on the air by far, but there's some real magic in the earlier seasons. But 13 really kicked it up to the level where I think they were, when they became truly great earlier on in the series.
It depends on who you really like. Like, there's a lot of different writers and a lot of different writing styles. And darn it. Who are the two guys? Darn it. I feel so bad now because this is information I normally know, but I'm for some reason spacing on.
I'm ashamed of you.
The two guys that team up and write. Shit. Anyway.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of a lot of those seasons. If you like there's a lot of those early Conan O'Brien seasons,
Those are fun.
which go up to around season 4. Which after that he actually got his own. He got his late night show. Those are really interesting. Season 5 for me was like when I was first getting into the season. For some reason, season 5 was like when it was really starting to step up their game for me. And somewhere between like you said, that 5 into that range, that early teen range. Now there's a point where after that it got a bit out of touch with me, but maybe there's a younger audience that was like, oh man, this is awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, season 5 is the Homer's Barbershop Quartet, Cape
oh
Fear,
yeah,
Homer Goes to College, Marge on the Lamb. Dude, Boy Scouts in the Hood. That's a great fucking season. Sorry, damn.
yeah. The season 5 starts with the joke of Ned Flanders. They have like a big community sale where everybody has it like a yard sale, but everybody has little booths. And he has like Bible trading cards, and they're just looking through it, and they're like, Joseph of Arimathea. And they're like, whoa, Methuselah rookie card, and he's already old. And if you know the Bible, Methuselah is the oldest character in the Bible, so his rookie card is just this withered old man. But
Methuselah lived to 969 years old.
Yeah, according to that bullshit. But Ned Flanders is immediately like, "Hi, you never thought learning about religion could be so fun, eh, boys?" And like it's like Nelson, Bart, and Millhouse, and one of them goes learning, and the other goes religion, and they go, let's get out of here, and they all just run.
There's some really raunchy, really dark shit in there. Like one of my favorite lines from all the Simpsons is Ned is calling I can never remember the name of the pastor.
What is his name? Damn. You know, it's weird because I usually like pop in a Simpsons DVD and watch it every night when I go to sleep. But for the past few months, I've just been kind of mixing it up and putting in DVDs of Futurama when I go to sleep. So a lot of these names.
Reverend Lovejoy.
Yeah, Reverend Lovejoy. Jeez.
One of my favorite lines of his is so Ned's calling him for spiritual guidance over every single goddamn little thing, and he interrupts Reverend Lovejoy into his train, and he says, Ned, all major religions are pretty much the same. Have you considered another? Just fucking, God, that leveled me. But of course I get physically aroused from sacrilege, so that's just me.
It was Oakley and Weinstein, Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein. When those guys were the showrunners, those guys just, man, they were like some of my favorite seasons. And those guys, when they were leaving the show, it was a lot of all those guys, those big dogs from the show were leaving after like season 8 or 9. I forget which one it was. They did that one season where Principal Skinner turned out to not be Principal Skinner. He was another guy.
I watched that yesterday.
Yeah. So what they were saying is, in the commentary for that, is they were just trying to destroy the show for that whole season. And just did all these crazy, wild, over-the-top storylines. And that's why that season and the ones after that got so wild, because of that.
That's awesome.
And
kind of evil.
Oh yeah, it's kind of weird. And before then, they consider that Conan O'Brien and obviously a lot of John Swartzwelder was considered the people that made Homer Simpson dumb.
Really?
Which revolutionized the show, if you will.
Interesting. To tell you the truth, I don't think I've seen maybe the first 3 seasons. They're a little rough for me.
They are not the same show, to be honest. I think the voices weren't really developed. The voices for the characters didn't really kind of level off until like season 4 or 5. And that's when the animation got super clean. And
yeah, they really tightened their shit up.
The show, by that point, had like such a huge universe Anyway, yeah.
Totally. Dude, we're awesome. We went from game dev to MMA and then seamlessly into The Simpsons and John Schwartzwelder. How the hell did we go from MMA to John Schwartzwelder? I don't even remember.
Because we're so cool. But, I tell you what, we should wrap it up because we're getting in there.
We're just about 2 hours, I think.
Into the long point. Yep. An hour and 50 minutes, or as I like to call it.
Quitting time?
Quitting time. So, yeah. Remember, you gotta check out CrunchStudios.com. It's a podcast site. There could be more podcasts than this, but they just haven't happened yet. Will they happen? Will you be the one that makes it happen? I don't know. But if you plan on doing it, send money. Contact at CrunchStudios.com is the email address. I'll probably bump it up to the top of the website or something so people can like snap that and throw spam at me and be a jerk about it. Besides that, we got the old YouTube channel. That's where most of the comments get posted, all the views and all that, like that action. Look at this guy, he's showing us the at Nexus Shooter. This guy, he's at Jon Jones. I'm at Chris Holden Dev on Twitter. That's all that Twitter action.
Faux show.
Look us up and let us, tell everybody. You got to relink this. We don't have advertising. If you don't tell anybody about this show, then no one knows about this show because we do our best. And we can only get to you, but you've got to get us to everybody else. That's your homework for the week.
It's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Not ours. We're just the talent.
Look, that guy has a monkey hat on. Do you expect him to aggregate this show properly? No, you gotta step up your game. Let us know. Yeah. So anyway, I should probably sign us off. Start hitting some of these buttons. That'll make the outro music play and.
That sounds like a plan. Thanks, everybody. Hope you stuck it through to the end. And please, send in questions. We enjoy this.